Good morning. It's September the 30th and yeah, Harvest Moon was yesterday. One of the members from the Facebook group Canadian Homesteaders suggested that we should do a collaboration on what our harvest is for the Harvest Moon. I'm in a position where the harvest could be the latter half of September, could be the first half of October. This year looks like it's going to be the first half of October for the most of it. But at any rate, I was doing some harvest over the last 2 weeks, so I have recorded it. And that's what this video is about, what the harvest has been in the latter half of September. So, hope you enjoy the report, the Harvest Moon report, and in the next couple of weeks we'll get to see what the bulk of the vegetable harvest is like here. Wait. I decided to stop right there for today. I'll have to come back with long pants on to get more apples, but since I was out there I wasn't going to stop until I got that bucket full. So that's one 5-gallon bucket full. As I said, I've been harvesting apples and plums, and I've got that tomato I want to show you now. It's almost ripe. Look at that guy. And the very last thing I want to happen is for me to lose that when they go fully ripe. That's quite often when the bugs will attack. There was a slug on it. And there's a little hole right there. You see it was 1, 2, 3, 4 tomatoes and around in a circle. There's a cucumber in right here somewhere that I have to get. I gotta check and see exactly where it's at. Right there. Sometimes they don't grow as long, but when they start to lighten up, you have to pick them. Last year I started harvesting squash the middle of September, and in here the first ones that I showed you should be getting ripe by now. So let's see what I am planning to do. Go in here. And see if I can find any. The skin is very soft on that one. That has hard skin. I'm going to set you back over here, and I'm going to test all of those. But only 2 of them. I want to go up above and see if we can find any more. I know there's one ready. And that's this one. You see the stalk is drying up and the little tendrils on opposite is drying up. That's a beautiful looking squash. Well, the sky fell and it's still falling. Raining now, but no matter. The squash are not as done as I thought they were. This one, of course, he's hard and starting to dry up. So I bring those in, and I guess we wait longer for the other squash. It's officially the last week of September now. It's September the 24th on a Sunday. I did harvest a little bit last week, and I picked a bucket full of these apples, and then I went up and picked one of the apples up behind the cellar, and when I went to eat it, it was kind of rubbery and still bitter, so they weren't ripe. So I took the edge trimmer and I cut everything down. So I'll wait for the apples to be falling, and now I can see all the apples that have fallen in the past week, and I can just go around here and pick them all up. And as you can see, there's quite a few. And I'll be doing that for a little bit, and then maybe next week I might start shaking them off the tree and picking them up. The last bucket full I picked was about 10 kilograms. So I've got about 15 kilograms there now. 10 kilograms, 22 pounds. So 15 would be 33 pounds. The plums are falling too. Now here, I cut down all that stuff with the hedge trimmer, and then I went in there with the lawnmower, so it's completely down to the ground, and I've got it mowed down out here. Now, the online people says that even if, that one's a little soft now, so even if they're not quite ripe, that you can pick them and ripen them up on your counter. So for the most part, unless they're really green, I'm going to just go through now and see how many I get. A lot of the ones, if they're on the ground, they're probably eaten by something already and gone really soft. I thought there was no need for me to be going high on the ladder or struggling to get them. Some there I got to clean the webbing off, but I'm going to cut this tree back in the next couple of days, so I just picked what was easy, and one right there, and then I'll cut that back and pick off the ones that's on the pieces I cut off, and the rest will be easy to reach. And I got about that quarter of a bucket full. I think it's 2 zucchini I have to get in here. It's 1. And 2. Yeah, that's all that's there. Now I picked some cucumbers out of here, 4 or 5 something. And when I did my walkabout this morning, I found this one. Now, if you remember the one that was hiding in the foliage, he got to be about this size, and there was 0 bitterness in it. When they're smaller, there is a little bit of bitterness to them, but the bigger one that I got before, there was practically no bitterness, so I'm hoping that this one has 0 bitterness as well. It's Monday, September the 25th. I'm doing my morning walkabout. I'm going to pick the tomatoes just before they get ripe, because as soon as they're completely ripe, there's animals that will immediately start to eat them. So when they're starting to turn like that, I'll bring them inside and let them ripen up in there. Now it's September the 26th. This plant is dead. This is the Jacob's cattle. I'm going to pick, I guess, all of the beans. Fairly dry today. See, they're beautiful. But you know what? I think I just want to throw the pods. I'll pick all the brown pods, and any green pods I'll leave. Like so. I can pick all the beans because when I shuck them, they're enough difference in appearance that I'll be able to tell one from the other anyway. And I'm kind of thinking that I'm just going to stand up and do it. Sitting down is not going to be the right way to do it, I don't think. Some of these plants have pretty much all mature beans on it, and some don't. And I'm thinking that the ones that survived from the first lot, they're mature now. And then the other ones, they still have a little bit to go. So once again, next year I'll plant the whole thing out direct sow, and what comes comes. Looks like we're going to have another 2 weeks without frost. That's what I was afraid of, see? I have a couple of pods here that are starting to pop open. So I don't think I'm going to get as many as I thought I would today, because there are still a lot of green there. So yeah, I got those. That's all from the first direct sowing. And then there's a lot of plants that you can see that they're still pretty healthy, and they have green pods on them. There's a lot of pods in there, but they're still green. Didn't look like there was any soldier bean pods ready. I broke one open and it wasn't quite colored up. Now this is the black turtle. And you can see that they're all turned quite black. Now this pod here is still green. See, a little bit of purple on the bottom side. See, so they're doing pretty good. Let's look at this one. Yeah, that one's a little lighter. So as long as they're turned, the pod is turned yellow. If the pod is green, then the beans aren't quite ready. Most of the tiger's eye I picked. Once again, I'm going to leave that there and let it go for another little while, because it seems like the only ones that are getting ripe are on this end of the bed. So when the frost comes, of course, I'll just have to pull everything up, and what I got, I got. Well, it's Wednesday, September the 27th. And we're going to deal with that plum tree here in a little bit. But first, before I do, I'm going to go get a couple of cucumbers. Now, the forecast for 19 degrees today, but it's not getting up there. I don't know if it eventually will. You see how dull it is? That's not clouds. That's wildfire smoke. Wildfires from up on the mainland. You can smell it a little bit and you can see the haze when you look across at a distance, but it's not really serious. Now in here, on this little runt of a plant, you see there's one cucumber in there and there's one laying on the ground right there. I have to get them because they're starting to turn light. So here are those two. They're shorter, but like I said, they're starting to turn light, so I had to pick them right now. Yeah, it's warm enough. I had to take off the jacket. You see, I've got more plums falling, but as soon as they fall, they get eaten by something. I'm going to use this to cut back the tree now. I also realize this handle, you can use it to hang it off things. Then when I cut down the branch, I'll pick off the plums. I'll put the plums in the bucket and put this over in the quad trailer. Not much of a tree left now, is there? And you see there was some black knot right where that tree, big branch came out. So I'm going to have to find out what I've got now and hopefully be able to paint all the tops. Well, that's the last of the plums. I've got plenty of plums for me to eat for this year, and I already have plenty of plums preserves in the house. And I'll bring the branches up now and throw them out in the bog. September the 27th, I'm going to dig up the rest of these russets now. The dandelions exploded in growth here in the last couple of weeks, but the plants are pretty much dead, so I'm going to go through. I got a bed and a half left. I'm not expecting to get very much. Not much, as I said. Got some nice potatoes as far as russets go, but there's not a whole lot of them. Might be 30 pounds, which, considering that I really only had about a bed's worth of plants there, would be considered a mediocre harvest, I guess. I'll weigh it when I get in the house. 16 pounds. That's a pitiful harvest. September the 29th. Apples are continually falling from this tree. I bring in a 5-gallon bucket full and I peel them and I bag them up, put them in the freezer. Then I come out and get another 5-gallon bucket full. 3.5 bucketfuls I've done so far, and there's tons on this tree. I'll show you. So you can see still quite a lot of apples up there, eh? I'm going to start shaking them off now and then pick them up, and as I get a 5-gallon bucket full, like I say, and go in and put them in the freezer. Once I get as many in the freezer as I want, I got to make some apple cider vinegar, and if I still have more, I'm going to try doing some apple preserves in bottles. As for what's left to harvest, I'm waiting for the potato stalks to die. I'm waiting for the squash plants to die back as well, and I check the squash to see if they're ready. Individual squash, of course. We did get a couple of nights where there's just the way the air currents went, there was some freezing. I wouldn't even call it patchy frost. I'm waiting for heavy frost to pick the rutabaga, the beets, and the carrots. The beans, I'm thinking about continuing with these next week and pick everything, because if they're immature, then I can still dry them and use them for eating, for cooked beans. But the ones that I need to save for seed, of course, they need to be fully mature. The onions are still growing. They're as frost hardy as carrots are, and so as long as their stalks are standing up and we don't have heavy frost, then I'll just leave them there. As far as the tomatoes go, as long as we don't get frost, they'll still stay alive. And as the tomatoes get ripe, I'll pick them. But when we get basically the first night where frost hits here, then the leaves will be turning black and I'll just have to pick all the tomatoes. And bring them inside. Most of the tomatoes are protected by foliage above them, and the first light frost I don't think will hurt the tomato anyway. Cucumbers, same idea as the well, in between tomato and squash, waiting for either the plants to die back or the cucumber to get along to the position where they're ripe, going, well, not ripe, going too far. At any rate, I guess I need to get a longer stick and shake a branch further up to get some apples to fall off, but that's what I'm going to do, and that'll be the harvest for the latter half of September, most of it being in the last week of September. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.